Morning, everybody. 10 a.m. This market, all-time highs in the spies, in the Qs, in SPY. SPY made all-time highs. The breadth is very narrow. That could change, but that's the fact. Mag 7 semis pushing market higher, continuing to push the market higher, right? Those heavily weighted stocks. So you look at some, the overall breadth of the market. Not all is moving higher, so that could change. But it's a very narrow breadth right now. So, but as long as the Mag 7's going up, the market will move higher. All right. So, without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the market. Also supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, anchor VWAPs, and the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the preceding day. All helped me find structure in the market and be on the right side of the trade. That's really all you try to do, is try to join strength, join the momentum, join who's in control of the market. That's the job of a trader, right? And you work with probabilities because nobody knows what's going to happen. That's basically it, right? So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, set an alert. That would help me out a lot. Okay. Also, please give me a like. And you can always follow me on X at Gonzo719. Okay. Let's get right into it. Let's look at the watch list of the futures, and we'll look at some other stuff. Okay, maybe I'll tell you some charts I'm looking at, some really stocks I have some eyes on. All right, and I'll give you my favorite one. Okay, of course, this is not financial advice. I'm just pointing out what I like, what I'm setting up. Doesn't mean I have a trade on it. Okay, so let's look at this watch list. All right, we got VIX. The VIX, interestingly, is up 2.56%. All right, even though the market's moving higher. That's interesting, right? 30-year bonds being bought this morning. 30-year bonds being bought. That's very interesting. Okay. The yields have been going higher while this market's moving higher, so maybe this changes. Okay, so that's 30-year bonds. 10-year yield will report. Give me some reading at 820. We'll look at that. And now we got the Nasdaq's up 0.65, followed by the Russell 0.58. Can small caps start their run? Right? Because the Mag 7 semis have been driving the market. Right? Russell's kind of like financials, a little bit of healthcare, and the financials haven't been doing it. It's great to kind of pull back a little bit. Just have to see if the small caps, if this is the time to make the run, right? Because the Russell can really rip. It also can fall. So we have to really see, right? ES up 0.38, Dow's up 0.23, crude is kind of flat. All right, 10-year yield didn't report yet. Dollar is flat. Gold is flat, down 0.07. Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin's down 1.2%. Silver's down 1.8. Ether's down 3.78%. So kind of like crypto, Bitcoin, whatever, it's definitely made a big pullback. Definitely made a big pullback. Okay. So that's what's going on there in futures. Let's move on to stocks I like the day trading swing. Even though I expanded my list, but these are the main ones that I like to look at every day. So what do we have? I do have my eye on snow. Okay, I want it to relax a little bit, but it might not. For me to get a nice little pullback to enter, but that is up 1.49%. Meta is up 1.09. Nvidia, it's over 600, up 1.07, right? Netflix, have my eye on it, but I'm not going to do anything because it has earnings this week. Roblox, been getting beaten down. That is up 0.83. Google's up 0.77. Tesla reports earnings this week. Okay, it's been doing price cuts, been doing a lot of stuff that's been negatively affecting the stock. It actually got a price target cut today, so it's just interesting. Interesting what's going to happen with that. All right, Amazon. Been looking at that, liking that, look at that. Hasn't really broke out of this one resistance. Let's see if it does. AMD actually got a downgrade today. Got a downgrade. Interesting. Apple with that Vision Pro headset, they're like already like sold out. Let's see what's going on with that. Microsoft. Let's see here. Now we got negatives here. Coin. It's down 0.84. Obviously with Bitcoin dropping and Ether dropping. Boeing had another plane like catch fire. So it's not looking good for Boeing. All right, Bob. China is in turmoil. I mean, this stock is at the bottom of the barrel. All right, and it's a profitable company, but it's crazy. Okay. Let's move on. Top sector stocks in each sector. Let's go over those. All right, Salesforce leading the pack, up 1.22. Qualcomm semis up almost 1%, and then not much there. Now what we have here is the bottom is you got Exxon and Home Depot got a downgrade. I didn't see why it was downgraded. I just saw it got a downgrade, so that's why you're getting a little weakness in Home Depot. Now, my new watch list here that I comb over every day pretty much. All right, let's look at the leader there. So Super Micro Strategy, Super Micro Computers or whatever, it had made a monster move and it's making a monster move again. So it's up 6.61%. All right, followed by Western Digital, what I SoFi, PayPal's breaking out of a huge consolidation. Okay, then Unity Software, Palantir. These are some of the leaders here: CrowdStrike, Carvana, Datadog, Intel, Trade Desk, AMC. These are just some of the leaders in this list. All right, Palo Alto, Micron, Macy's. What is that? American Airlines, I believe. Shopify, Lucid. These are just some of the leaders here. Now let's look at some of the laggards, just so we can see here. ADM is down 15%. Let's see, Baidu down 4, Neo down 3, NetEase, Mara, just these MicroStrategy. This is just the crypto. Getting weakness here. Lulu, not a lot of weakness. Right, so we go back to the leaders. Let me just go back to top sectors. That's what I usually have up there. Now we can go to sectors. All right, let's look at sectors. Semis, just all-time highs, just keeps going crazy. Technology, communications. So all for the big boys. Well, I'm sorry. XLK, XLY, XLF, and XLV are the big boys. So let's see here. Is there a laggard? Basic materials. Now, see, these are defensive, so that makes sense. Energies just can't get a foothold there. So that's what I'm seeing there. Okay. And there's not tons and tons of news right now. Very light on the news. We can get right into the economic calendar here. And let's see what we have this week. Okay. Now, today we don't have much. There's a couple bond auctions. So there's really nothing to report. Tomorrow, don't have much either. Okay. On Wednesday, we have S&P Global manufacturing. All right, 9:45. And then we got crude inventories. Thursday, we have GDP. Jobless claims. All right. New home sales. And Friday, we have core PC. That's the Fed's favorite gauge of inflation. Personal consumption expenditure. That is on Friday. So that should be watched pretty closely on Friday. Okay, that's what we really have going on there. As far as news, probably talked about this already. So Tesla price cuts. Talked about that. Boeing talked about it, and then Macy's rejects Ark House 5.8 billion bid to take it private. Um, that's really all I really saw in there that was anything to note. Let's go to the juice. Let's see here. Mm, don't really see anything big here. Um, this is, let's see, this list might have grew since then. It did. All right, let's look at some of these upgrades. American Airlines. Okay, talked about that. I'm just talking about stocks that are more in play usually. Union Pacific, that's a Union Pacific. Why am I blanking on where that's from? I think that's a industrial. Okay, so downgrades. AMD, like I talked about. Just trying to see here. Home Depot, Lowe's, Lululemon, McCormick, Toll Brothers. That's interesting. Toll Brothers downgrade. All right, that's about it for there. Let me see if we can get some price target. I'm trying to see if anything was here. Not really. Not really. All right. I think that will do it for the news for right now. I don't really see anything crazy. Okay. Now 10-year yield has reported. Let's just go back to that real quick. And it's down, okay? 1.35%. All right. Down to a 4.09 yield. All right. So that finally is coming down a little bit because it was rising while the market was rising, which is usually it's inversely correlated. All right. So, without further ado, let's get into the daily charts. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's get into the earnings this week. Let's get into those. All right. So, today we have United after the close. I'm just going to name some bigger ones. United, that's probably the bigger one. Tomorrow before they open, Verizon, 3M, GE, RTX, Johnson & Johnson, Halliburton, Lockheed Martin, Procter & Gamble. Those are the big ones before they open. Tomorrow, after the close, tomorrow, Netflix, Texas Instruments. Okay. Before the open on Wednesday, AT&T, ASML, Abbott, Progressive. All right. Let's look at after the close on Wednesday. Tesla, IBM, ServiceNow, Sands. Okay. Big week of earnings this week. So Thursday, before the open, American Airlines, NextEra Energy, Alaska Airlines, Southwest, okay, Humana, Valero, Dow, Union Pacific. Okay, after the close on Thursday, Intel, Visa. This is a big week for earnings. Capital One, T-Mobile, Levi's, Western Digital. Then Friday before the open, American Express, Colgate. All right. So these are some pretty important earnings this week. Let's see what it does to the market. Okay. Now we can get over to daily charts. Give me one sec. I pull that up. We go right over to the SPY. Okay. Not much to see here. But of course, we got to talk about it. So you had all these shorts all in here. And finally, they had to get covered. They got squeezed. Whatever you want to call it. Big move. Big move. Even though it was OPEX on Friday, operations, the monthly expiration of January, which is the third Friday of every month. Okay. Now, that could usually cause a change of the guard. Usually when the operations OPEX happens, usually there's some kind of change. I'm not saying you go down. I'm just saying because now everything was off the table. All the hedges, everything, market makers, everything's off the table. And now we're looking to the next monthly expiry. Okay. So we made all-time highs. There's not much to report here. We just got to see where we're at now. Okay. Where we at now? That's 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. 484.33. So we're gapping up pretty big. Okay. And we just have to see, you're gapping up already on an all-time high. That would give me pause to wait for some type of pullback. Okay. Because it's kind of euphoric right now, and it can make no sense, right? The market doesn't have to be rational. So let's go to the Qs. All right, Qs all-time highs. All right, you can see broke out last month's highs and gapped, and it held it, and it just ran up, right? Where are we at now? 424. So we're all the way up here, and there's literally no supply because we're at all-time highs. There's no resistance that's been built yet. Okay, so this is just probably a day where I'm gonna sit back a little bit and see what the market does. You're gonna get some type of pullback, most likely, but you might not. So we just have to see. Okay, and of course, let's just look at the IWM. All right, you can see a clear difference in these markets, right? SPY all-time highs, Q's all-time highs, and you have the IWM. But I have to note, we did almost hit the 50-day moving average, right? We're in a downtrend, all right? And you have two trend lines acting for support as well as the 50. And you have lower high, lower high, lower high. So it's looking better for IWM here. Okay, but this just represent our economy. Okay, this represents our economy. Because just to give you perspective on IWM, right? Let's go to let's just go to a time frame here. We can go 10 years, monthly. Okay, so this is the all-time highs in the IWM, 244.46. We're over here in the IWM, right? You can just see that it's definitely weaker, and it can give you either it's relatively weak, so it either going to be like, wow, if this makes a run and breaks out of this big range, woof, that could be a monster, right? That could be a monster. But it's in this range, right? So you just have to see. You just have to see really what it can do, right? Right now, needs to break this trend line, and then maybe let's see what happens, right? Very important for the Russell, right? If you look at RSP, which is an equal weighted, right? That's even stronger than the Russell. But even the equal weighted, see, this doesn't have market weighted like the Mag 7. Doesn't matter. The Mag 7 doesn't affect RSP because everything's equal weighted, right? It's not even at these highs. So you can see that the overall market isn't that strong yet. That's what I was talking about. The breadth is narrow. Okay, but if small caps start to get a move on it, weaker sectors start pushing, then you get overall market breadth, and that's much stronger. Okay, now let's look at the triple-headed monster. Let's look at that 10-year yield. Okay, so you can see here, look what happened on Friday. You all the way up to here. Got a nasty wick coming back, and now look. If this is to start moving down, this market's going to start taking off again. Okay, these are inversely correlated. Okay, so what was weird is the yields were rising and we went and broke all-time highs. That's kind of like a mixed message. Bond market, smart money, okay? So this was like, the yields are going higher and the market's going higher. That's not usually how it works. Okay, same with the dollar. Okay, usually stronger dollar, the market doesn't go higher. Okay, and the dollar was catching steam here. So you had rising yields and a rising dollar, but the market was going to all-time highs, right? And I just said the breadth is overall narrow, right? That could change now if you get weakness in the dollar and weakness in yields, okay? So just got to keep an eye on it, really, you know. So that's about it for there. We're going to move over to structure, market profile, volume profile, okay? We can look at that together. Let's do it. And we're at the volume, market profile and volume profile. Okay, this is the ES. We're going to look at structure together. All right. I mean, we all know who's in control. Buyers, right? So we can see what happened on Friday, right? Well, you see we opened here, and what did we do? Now, I'll be fully transparent. What I've said pre-market happened to be a beautiful trade. Okay? I said, let's see. Did I long the SPY? Yeah, I went long on the SPY. So I said this was the week low right here. And I said this area needed to be defended with the, see how it came into the supply demand zone perfectly. And I took two shots at it. First one probably had like a 75% return, and then the next one I had like a 160% return. Okay, or 1.6R. And I like took it off at like 480, and then it went to 482. So you never know how far this thing is going to run. Okay, so basically we went here, we filled the gap. I talked about that, fill in the gap, and then that was it. And then we came back down, we did one of these, and then it took off. And then right here, single prints, there's the emotional buying, and there's the short covering. And then we ripped up here, closed at the highs, almost traded price right at the highs. That's very bullish. Okay, now we are gapping up. Price is here, 48.87. Okay, we are gapping up again. Okay, so you consider this kind of like a spike. This is a spike. All right, now you have single prints here. Now what you want to just do is how you gauge these spike rolls is if the price is within the spike or above the spike. It just tells you buyers are in control. We're accepting higher prices. The market's accepting higher prices. Okay, if you're below the spike, then that has the buyers aren't as strong. It's just a little temperature gauge to check. Okay, now where are some signposts, some inflection points that you want to look at? 50% retracement of Friday's move, 48.44. That's the Fibonacci 50%, the midpoint of Friday's session. It's also kind of close to the breakout level. Okay? It's kind of close to the breakout level. So you want to see if we do pull back, that gets defended. Okay, one other thing, and I'm giving you a lot of tidbits how to look at this. So when you have single prints as well, that's emotional buying, they shouldn't act as much support. But if they do, say we come in here and we don't clean the singles, that's very bullish. Okay, that's very bullish. If you hold single prints, that's bullish. All right, now we do have the most traded price of the month here, 48.17. Sorry, most traded price of the month is down here, around 47.90. Most traded price, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused with my charts. Just to let you know, I don't use this, I use this chart to show my most traded price of the month. So then the most traded price of the month is 48.17. Most traded price of the week is 47.90. Sorry. Okay, so we're way above them. All right, so let's look at this. Here's our highs. There's Friday's lows. Here's our midpoint. And here's the overnight high and the overnight low. Okay, now we have to talk about one more thing, okay? Is we are 100% net long. The market opened here, and all it's done is gone long. So we're 100% net long in the overnight, and we're at the top of the range. Okay? So that's, you got buyers all the way. If you look at this chart, really, buyers have not gotten hurt. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Okay? People are very long. So, this could be setting up for a little bit of a fade. Okay? And what's important about this is the close in this little area of the most traded price of Friday is right here. So I just told you everybody's long all the way from the bottom here. All right, now we're 100% net long here. Okay, so if we come down, we fill the gap, and we get some weakness and volume, and we cut through the most traded price of Friday, this makes these single prints very susceptible to get cleaned. Okay, so this is a weak low here. Now there's a lot of nuance I'm talking about this morning. Hope some of you are following it. And if you're not following it, you can always leave a comment. You can message me right now, and I'll explain it. Okay, but that's what we have going. So now I'm going to get into some scenarios here of what I possibly see can happen here. All right. Now, one thing I want to talk about as well, and this is very important. All right, we have our profile here from the last week. You can see it here. Now, you can see one thing for sure. You got large volume here, and then you got a little more volume here. Now, if we keep doing this, this is running out of participants. I don't know how high it can go, right? But it definitely can go higher than anybody thinks. All right, so now let's look at scenarios here. All right, let's look at ES scenarios. I might not have time today to go over the NASDAQ, but we're definitely going to go over the ES. Okay. So we're gapping up. All right, now here's the gap fill. There's your gap fill. If the market comes down, that's a gap fill. Okay, we could gap and go. That's very bullish. We could fail to fill the gap. That's second to most bullish. We could fill the gap and go, right? But if we fill that gap and go back into range, that puts the buyers on their heels. That's how you measure that, okay? So let's talk about bullish. This is the area, the first area the bulls have to defend. Okay, you're gapping up, so you'd want to see it kind of even push up off the open, come back down, and this is the area like I talked about. This is that weak low, so we'll talk about that as the bearish scenario. But if it's the bullish scenario, it could do something like this. Even break it, tip into these singles, and I said if you go into those singles and it gets support, that's bullish, and then you can make your move. Okay, because the overnight high usually is not secure. An overnight high is usually not the high. That's what I'm looking at there. The other one is if this breaks and you come down here, clean these singles, well, you got the 50% Fibonacci of 50 Friday, but you have demand here. So we could do that. That's what I'm seeing there. Now, as far as a bearish scenario, okay, I talked about the 100% net long overnight. Talked about this week low. So you got the close here and the most traded price of Friday. What does that mean? Okay, we closed here, and the most trades of all the prices that were traded on Friday is here. Okay, that price is 48.67. Okay, 48.67. So you got the overnight low, which is 100% net long on top of the range. So this area is the bull bear line. Okay, so if you really want to fade this market, you'd wait for the market to push up, maybe come through the open, right? fill that gap, and then you test this area. Okay, and this is the bearish scenario. So so I'm not talking about now if you rip it, hold it, and now you get really a lot of volume weakness, people start taking profit. Remember, single prints usually not supportive. You can rip right down here and go right to that most traded price of the month in this demand zone, and then we might hold that and kind of balance off. All right, that's what I'm seeing there. Now, one thing to note, okay, we just made a big move. Okay, made a big move. And generally, when a big move like that happens, sometimes you get continuation, but sometimes you need to take a little rest. All right, so today we could even, now this is just in a balanced way, we could move up, come down, and balance off here. We could move down, like I said, clearing singles, bounce up, and start balancing here. And that's very well could happen when you have a big move. Okay, so what would be bullish is if you take this most traded price of the week down here and you can move it up here. That's bullish, right? You want to move this most traded price up here. Okay, you want to build value up here, and then you can make another leg higher. If it can't, what happens? Right? If you can't make value chase price, price returns back to value. Now we have to see. Okay, gave a lot of tidbits today. If anybody has any questions, just comment. All right. All right. Now, I don't have time to go into depth. Let's just look at the NASDAQ, okay? Let's look at that together. Here's that move. Let's make it a little smaller. It looks the same. The only difference is we don't have the most traded price. It was down here instead of here. But it still applies. Okay, it still applies. 100% net long. Okay. This is still pretty decent volume. You could still come through here. Okay, so it's the same setup. Midpoint is 173.15. So it's the same setup. Okay, same exact setup. You have some demand here. So very, very, very similar setup. You have single prints. So markets did kind of the same thing. So I don't need to go over it really. It's the same situation here. Okay. They need to defend this area right here. That would be long. You violate this, clean those single prints, the market could balance off today. Now, I didn't talk about this, but let's just say the market does do one of these, and breaks that demand zone, and we start going back into range. That's not good. We're going to probably go to the other side. I wouldn't say that happens all in one day, but that would mean that this move higher was a test, and now it's called a look above and fail. I don't know if that's going to happen. I just have to bring that out. Okay. So that is it for today. I'm really liking the setup in the ES. I'm not in love because we made a big move up, but if you defend here and the market's strong, like I said, that could be the pullback to just buy, and you see what we do today. The fade is on today. If you break that week low here, the fade is on. It would be nice. You get a nice move. Okay. I'm not really sure. I really want to see how the internals look today. If things are weak or whatever. But remember, there's probably FOMO and people thinking that they missed it. So you have to just be patient today. Okay. So subscribe, set an alert if you haven't already. All right. If you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. And you can always follow me on X at Gonzo719. Okay, so we have the plan. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to sit back. Okay. I told you guys that I was going to promise you one thing. Here, give me one thing here. One stock that I was looking at that I really like. I really like it. All right. I'm going to show you right now. That stock is Twilio. All right. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here in Twilio. Okay. Made a nice run up, right? You got a inclining 50-day, right? You're kind of in this range, but if you look really quickly at a weekly, let's go to a weekly, and let's go back, let's say 10 years. Look at this base. It came all the way down. Look how long this base has been built out. That is a crazy base. Okay, you see this here? So the level of 78 is huge to break out. All right, got a rising 30, a rising 10 week. Okay, if it breaks 74, we're going to go to 78, and let's just see if this can run to maybe 100. I don't know if it does. I just like the way the chart looks. Okay, that's just me. I like the way the chart looks. So that's my favorite play from over the weekend. All right. Again, not a financial advisor. Do not do anything because I haven't done anything yet. I just like how the chart looks. All right. So that's it, guys and girls. I will see you guys tomorrow morning.